Hello, and welcome to another video to teach you about the wonderful world of Latin. Today's video will teach you about first declension nouns. These are the first group of nouns that you are learning, and so we need to talk to you a little bit about nouns and how they work within the Latin language. As you remember, Latin is an inflected language. This means that the word's endings show the word's role in the sentence. So in English, we show this by the order of words in a sentence. The subject comes before the verb, and then there's the predicate nominative if the verb is a linking verb, or the subject is followed by the verb, and then comes the direct object or indirect object based on an action verb. You can also have objects of a preposition that follow the preposition, and sometimes a noun that's possessing another noun comes before the noun it possesses with an S apostrophe if the possessive noun is plural, or an apostrophe S if the possessive noun is singular. Latin shows these things with their endings. To help us understand the endings, Latin has 6 different cases. These are different roles that the nouns can have, or rather the 6 cases communicate the various roles that a noun can have. The 6 cases are nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, and vocative. The nominative case is the subject, or shows the subject. It's also on both sides of a linking verb, or it can be the predicate nominative. The genitive case is used to show that a noun possesses another noun, the whole that another noun is part of, the descriptive word to tell us about another noun, or the object of another noun, like the love of Latin language. The dative case is used to show the indirect object, or it can be the point of reference who's benefiting from something, or it can show possession with a linking verb. For example, mihi nomen est. Mihi is a dative word in the sentence for my name is blank. The accusative is used to show that that noun is the direct object, or it is the object of some prepositions. The ablative case is used as the object of other prepositions, and it turns nouns into something like an adverb, so it's an adverbial case. Finally, the vocative case is the case used for a noun that is being addressed, so the person or thing being spoken to directly. The Latin nouns can have these cases. They also have 2 other qualities, the gender and number. The endings communicate the number and case. However, not all nouns have the same groups of endings. Based on the different types and patterns of endings, there are actually 5 declensions. Each declension just has a different pattern for its endings. Today we're only talking about the first declension. You will learn about the second, third, fourth, and fifth declensions in later chapters. So, as I said, the gender of a noun can be masculine or feminine, the number of a noun can be singular or plural, and the case of a noun can be nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, and vocative. Those are the 3 qualities of a Latin noun. To know the gender of a noun, you have to look at the dictionary. To know the number and case, you have to look at the ending of that noun within the sentence. So let's look at that dictionary entry and figure out how we use these endings on our nouns. The Latin dictionary entry for a noun looks something like this, and this will be true for all nouns in all declensions. In fact, it's how you know that a noun is a noun, because it follows this pattern in dictionaries or vocabulary lists. The first form is the nominative singular form. In this example, Rosa. The second form is the genitive singular form. In this example, Rosai. Next is the gender. In this case, it's feminine. usually the gender is abbreviated F, M, or N, or fem, masc, and newt. The translation then follows all of these parts, but generally we talk about the nominative singular, genitive singular, and the gender as your dictionary entry or citation form. Using this, we figure out how to decline the rest of our nouns, because we use them and our endings to come up with all the various forms. These are some examples of some declined first declension noun words that, if you look through it, you may be able to come up with what some of the endings are. And here they are for your first declension nouns. A, AE, AE, AM, a long A with that macron, a short A, an AE, a long ARUM, a long IS, a long AS, a long IS, and an AE. These endings we add to the base, and we'll talk about what we mean by that base as we work through that example, rosa, rosae. In fact, let's do that. Let's decline this noun, rosa, rosae. The first thing to do when we decline a noun is create this chart with all your cases on one side and the columns singular and plural, because remember our endings communicate our number and our case, and the gender never changes because that is a thing that's born into our noun. It's something inherent to what that noun is. It cannot be changed. So let's decline this noun. First, nominative singular, rosa. We can just take that from the dictionary entry, move it down like this. Nominative singular, rosa. Next, our next form is genitive singular, rosae, because that's our genitive singular form from our dictionary entry. All right, we are no longer given any direct help from our dictionary entry or citation form. We need to figure out the rest. To do that, we use the genitive singular and the equation that the forms of a noun are the base plus the case number ending. So that genitive singular form gives us our base. We take off the AE, our genitive singular ending, and that gives us our base, ROS. So since our equation is base plus case and number ending, we can write our base down for all the other cases and numbers. Now, what we have to do is add on our case and number endings. So for dative singular, we can add an AE, so the entire form is rosae. For accusative singular, we add AM, so rosam. For ablative singular, rosa with a macron. And then vocative singular, rosa without a macron. Notice that this macron in the ablative helps you tell the difference between the nominative singular, the vocative singular, and the ablative singular. Therefore, you need to memorize that the ablative singular requires the macron. For nominative plural, you add the ending AE to get rosae. For the genitive plural, you add ARUM. For the dative plural, long IS. Accusative plural, long AS. Ablative plural, long IS. And vocative plural, AE. If you notice the macrons in genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative plural don't help you tell these apart from other cases and numbers, so you don't need to memorize those macrons, just the one in the ablative singular. So now we have all of our forms of this example. Make sure you have these in your notes, and then resume the video. Okay, it's your turn to practice declining puella puellae. Pause the video and fill out the chart for puella puellae as you decline that noun. Pause now. Okay, so hopefully you remembered to remove your AE to get your base. So puel will be your base to decline puella, puelli, girl. And then you would use that to get these forms. Puella, puelli, puelli, puellam, puella, puella in the singular, puelli, puellarum, puellis, puellas, puellis, puelli in the plural. And make sure you do this in this order so that you have all of these cases figured out and memorized in the proper order so you know what case and number goes with what ending. So the next thing we need to talk about is parsing a noun. Remember, when you parse a word, you identify all of its categories, its qualities, its characteristics. So for a noun, that will be its gender, number, and case. For famam, you know from its dictionary entry that it's feminine. And then you know its number is singular because the am is a singular ending that happens to go along with the accusative case. So that's the accusative. Why don't you practice with the rest and figure out what those will be? Okay, hopefully you identified that formi is feminine because forma is a feminine noun, that ae could be singular genitive or dative or plural nominative, and then fortunas can be feminine, plural, and accusative only. Irarum can only be feminine, plural, and genitive. Nauta is a rare masculine first declension noun. That usually only professions are masculine first declension nouns, but there are a few. The gender is singular, and it can be nominative or vocative. Patriis is feminine, plural, and dative or ablative. Notice that for patriis, patri has an I, or is the stem for your noun. So that double I exists because the patri is in your stem and is is your ending. Also notice this could be multiple cases, just like nauta or formi. And these, you need to be aware of the multiple case and number pairs that each ending could provide so that you can translate your sentences better. In fact, this parsing is a key part to understanding how to translate a Latin sentence. So let's put all of the stuff we've been talking about together to translate the sentence puella pecuniam nautai dat. I realize we've gone through a lot so far, and this is to show you the value of remembering all of our case endings and all of the uses of cases. The more we practice with these, the better you will be at declining nouns and at translating sentences. So, the first thing to do, read your sentence, puella pecuniam nautai dat. Now we're familiar with all the words we're looking at, so we know how to translate them. The next thing is identify what all of the endings tell you about the words. So, based on parsing our nouns, we know puella can be nominative, singular, and feminine. Pecuniam can be accusative, singular, and feminine. And nautai can be genitive, singular, masculine, or dative, singular, masculine, or nominative, plural, masculine. Remember that nautai or sailor is a profession, which is why it's masculine instead of feminine. Then we should also probably parse our verb. Dot. It's third person, singular, present, active, indicative. Notice you can't forget things about verbs from the last chapter. They will continue to show up in all our other sentences. Now we need to apply our uses of cases and figure out what each of these do in our sentence. What are the role of each of these words? So often it's helpful to find your subject because that's the first part in the English sentence word order. The subject is the nominative case. We have two words that could be in the nominative case, puella or nautai. Puella can only be nominative singular and nautai can only be nominative plural. Here's where we look at our verb, because the verb and the subject have to agree in number. Dot is singular, so we know that the subject of our sentence has to be singular. That means our subject needs to be puella because nautai would be nominative plural. So puella is our subject. Therefore, we can start translating our sentence as the girl gives. Then we have our subject, we have our verb, then in English we want our direct object. The direct object comes from the accusative case. That is our most common use of the accusative. The other common case is the object of a preposition, but we don't have a preposition in this sentence, so we know pecuniam needs to be the direct object. So, what does the girl give? The girl gives the money. Now we have to figure out what's going on with the word nautai, the last word in our sentence. Genitive could show possession, part of the whole, description, or object of another noun. Dative could be the indirect object, and that's really the only option for dative that it could be in this sentence. For possession, and really all other uses of the genitive, we often use the word of before it. For dative, we often use to or for, and that's a great way to translate an indirect object. We're doing something to or for someone. They're benefiting from it. So our possible translations are the girl gives the money of the sailor, or the girl gives the money to the sailor. Of the sailor, if it's genitive, dative is to the sailor. So which is it? Well, assuming the girl is not a thief, unless we learn from the rest of the paragraph that the sentence comes from that she is a thief, it also probably makes more sense for her to give something to someone, to give it to an indirect object. So dative makes more sense in this sentence. The girl gives the money to the sailor. So we can cross off genitive, we've eliminated that option, and it's only dative. So we can rephrase our entire sentence as the girl gives the money to the sailor. Now, like I said, we'll continue to practice all of this and add all of this information together. I realize I threw a lot at you with this sentence, so let's shore up some of our knowledge, give ourselves a nice strong foundation with nouns by practicing these 4 things. Build up to the translation and certainly make sure you know how to decline your first declension nouns. So check your understanding with these questions. Call me over to check your work, and once you have all of these correct, I will let you know what your homework is. Thank you for watching this video, and have a good day.